Right, let's talk about projects. Big, complicated projects. Think of setting up a brand new patient management system in a massive hospital. It's not just a case of plugging in a few computers and hoping for the best. Oh no. This is more like building a Formula One car from scratch while the race is already starting. You have people, equipment, and a budget. These are your resources. And if you don't manage them properly, your brilliant, high-tech project will end up in the gravel trap before you've even completed the first lap. It's that simple. Bad management leads to disaster. So, what is this dark art of resource management? It's the instruction manual for your project. It's knowing exactly what parts you need, who is going to fit them, and when they need to do it. In our hospital example, this means knowing how many IT specialists you need, which nurses require training on the new system, how many computer terminals are required for the emergency ward, and crucially, how much all of this is going to cost. Without a solid plan, you're just guessing. And honestly, guessing is a brilliant way to run out of money and time, leaving you with a very expensive, very stationary pile of junk. The real problem is that resources are always limited. You never have enough of anything. Not enough expert coders, not enough training rooms, and certainly not enough money in the pot. It's like trying to build a supercar with the budget of a family hatchback. This is where clever management comes in. It's about being smart with what you've got. It's about making sure your best people are working on the most critical tasks, not making the tea. Effective resource management is what separates a smooth, successful project from a chaotic, wallet-emptying nightmare that gets cancelled halfway through. Ultimately, getting this right is the key to success. It's the difference between crossing the finish line to a cheering crowd and a sad, lonely walk back to the pits. When you manage your resources well, you prevent waste. You stop people from sitting around doing nothing, and you stop others from being so overworked they burn out. It keeps costs under control, it keeps the project on schedule, and it keeps everyone on the team happy and motivated. It's not the most glamorous part of the job, I'll admit, but it is absolutely the most important. First up in your project manager's toolkit is planning. This is where you sit down with a big piece of paper and a strong cup of coffee and figure out exactly what you need. It's the blueprint stage. For our hospital patient system, you'd list everything. Senior software developers, database administrators, project managers, that's you. Training staff, nurses to test the system, and even the physical computers and servers. You have to identify every single component, human or otherwise. The problem is often underestimating what's needed. The solution is to be ridiculously detailed. Think of every nut and bolt. Next, you move on to allocation. This is where you assign your resources to specific tasks. It's like telling your pit crew who unscrews the wheels and who refuels the car. It has to be precise. You'd assign your top software developer to build the core database, while another team works on the user interface for the nurses. You'd schedule the training rooms for specific weeks and book the network engineers to lay the cables. The challenge here is getting the right person for the right job. You wouldn't ask your star driver to change a tire, would you? Proper allocation ensures your experts are doing what they do best. Now for the clever bit resource optimization. This is where you fine-tune the engine. You've got two main techniques here: resource leveling and resource smoothing. Imagine one of your IT experts is scheduled to work 80 hours in 1 week. That's impossible. They'll explode. Resource leveling is about fixing that. You delay some of their less urgent tasks to the next week to level out their workload. This might push your project's finish date back a bit, but it avoids burning out your best people. It's a trade-off, a slightly longer project for a sustainable pace. Resource smoothing is a bit different. Let's say your project has a rock-solid deadline. The hospital opening can't be moved. With smoothing, you adjust tasks within their available slack or float time without changing the final end date. So if a task can be done anytime within a 2-week window, you move it to a less busy day for the team member involved. You're smoothing out the peaks and troughs of their workload, but within the existing schedule. You're not delaying the finish line, just making the journey there a bit less frantic. It's all about maintaining that critical path. Once the race is underway, you can't just put your feet up. You need to be constantly monitoring. This means keeping a close eye on how your resources are actually being used compared to your beautiful plan. Are the developers taking longer than expected on a piece of code? Did the delivery of new computers get delayed? You use tools like timesheets and project management software to track progress in real time. The problem is that reality never quite matches the plan. The solution is to be vigilant. You have to spot deviations early before they turn into massive project-ending pileups. This leads us to development. Sometimes you realize your team doesn't have all the skills it needs. Perhaps the nurses are struggling to adapt to the new software because it's completely alien to them. This is a skills gap. You don't just fire them and find new ones. You develop them. You arrange extra training sessions, bring in an expert for a workshop, or create simple, easy-to-follow guidebooks. Investing in your team's skills is like upgrading your car's engine mid-season. It makes them faster, more efficient, and more confident, which pays off massively for the rest of the project. Monitoring isn't just about spreadsheets and charts. It's about talking to your people. A good project manager walks the floor. They check in with the IT team, chat with the nurses testing the system, and ask how things are going. This is how you discover the real problems. Someone might tell you, the new login screen is a nightmare. It takes 5 steps. That's gold dust. That's information you'd never get from a status report. This human element of monitoring allows you to fix small annoyances before they become major roadblocks to user adoption. Finally, there's project closure. When the project is done, you don't just pack up and go home. You have to formally close out your resources. This means releasing your team members so they can move on to other projects. You need to finalize all contracts with vendors and make the last payments. And most importantly, you conduct a lessons learned session. What went well? What was a complete disaster? Documenting this helps the next person avoid the same potholes you hit. It's about making sure the organization gets a little bit smarter with every project it completes. Now, your most important resource is your people. But you can't just throw a group of individuals into a room and expect them to work like a well-oiled machine. Teams have to develop, and a chap named Bruce Tuckman figured out how. He called it the stages of team development. The first stage is forming. This is the first day of school. Everyone is polite, a bit nervous, and unsure of their role. For our hospital project, this is the kickoff meeting where the IT specialists, nurses, and administrators all meet for the first time. They're all on their best behavior. Then comes the storming stage. Oh yes, this is where the fireworks happen. People start to push against boundaries. The lead developer might disagree with the project manager about the timeline. The nurses might argue that the IT team doesn't understand their workflow. It can get a bit tense. Personalities clash. This is a critical phase. Some teams fall apart here. The project manager's job is to act as a referee, listening to all sides and helping the team navigate these conflicts without crashing and burning. It's noisy, but it's necessary. If you survive the storm, you get to the norming stage. This is where the team starts to figure things out. They establish rules, both spoken and unspoken. People start to trust each other. The developers begin to appreciate the nurses' feedback, and the nurses start to understand the technical limitations. They create a process for reporting bugs and suggesting improvements. A sense of we're in this together starts to emerge. The arguments become less about personal ego and more about finding the best solution for the project. The engine is starting to hum nicely. Finally, you reach the promised land performing. The team is now a finely tuned machine. They are working together seamlessly, solving problems without needing the manager to intervene all the time. The IT team and the clinical staff are collaborating, iterating on the system, and making real progress. They are focused, efficient, and motivated. This is when the project really picks up speed. There is a 5th stage, adjourning, which is when the project ends and the team disbands. But performing is the goal. It's where your pit crew works in perfect harmony. So, there you have it. Managing resources isn't just about making lists and ticking boxes. It's a dynamic, hands-on job that sits at the very heart of a project's success. It's the difference between a state-of-the-art hospital system that doctors and nurses love and a fantastically expensive failure that nobody wants to use. From the initial detailed planning phase to the careful allocation of your best people, every step matters. You have to be a strategist, a diplomat, and sometimes a bit of a mind reader. It's a seriously challenging role. The optimization part, with its leveling and smoothing, is where the real genius lies. It's about being flexible, knowing when to push the deadline to save your team from burnout, leveling versus when you have to cleverly shuffle tasks to meet a fixed date. Smoothing is a skill that separates good project managers from great ones. It shows you understand that your resources, especially your human ones, are not infinitely stretchable. They need to be managed with care and intelligence, like coaxing the best performance out of a thoroughbred racing engine without blowing it up. And we can't forget the people. As we saw with Tuckman's stages, building a team is a journey in itself. Guiding a group of individuals through the awkward forming stage, the chaotic storming phase, and into the productive norming and performing stages is one of the most rewarding parts of the job. A high-performing team can overcome almost any obstacle a project throws at them. They become more than just a collection of resources. They become a powerful problem-solving unit that can achieve brilliant things together. In the end, it all comes down to this. A project is just a collection of resources aimed at a specific goal. If you manage those resources with foresight, care, and flexibility, you steer your project towards the finish line. You control the costs, you stick to the schedule, and you deliver something of real value. Whether you're building a championship-winning car or a life-saving hospital IT system, the principles are exactly the same. Get the resource management right, and you're already halfway to victory. Now, on to the next challenge.